Okay. All right. I think it's going. Okay. Fire. All right. Well, I'm gonna address the camera real quick, or like the people watching, because on the live stream, just crazy. Like I'll go live, and then when I'm publicly live, and then like people will jump in, and I'm sitting here trying to send all the links out, and I'm just sitting here like this for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and I'm just like, God damn it! So I always say, guys, if you're here and you're watching this stream and you're not watching this live, which you can't be watching this live, skip ahead. Actually, no, never mind. It's not going publicly live. We can just start.
Okay. Let me close my door. Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, it's good to talk to you. Good to see you. I feel like a bunch of shit has happened since last time I talked to you, and I'll take off the glasses. I just wanted to start with that because I remember the first time you were like, "Where the hell's your glasses?" But
I dig the glasses. You're good, man.
Well, it's weird. I have these lights in front of me, and if I wear these glasses for too long, I'll literally get a headache because they're. I think it's like maybe it's because it's green. It's a little bit of like shade or something. I don't even know. But
it's your look.
Anyways,
embrace your look, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, anyways, I'm excited to talk to you. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the intro, guys. Welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. In today's video, today's podcast, we have Greg Norman Jr. We have the former CEO of Boonji, Bored Ape Yacht Club holder, business savage, entrepreneur, all the things. So I'm super excited to have you on. And yeah, thanks for wasting some time with me to chop it up and talk about Web3 and business and all that stuff.
Yeah, man, good to be back here. Good to see you. How you been?
Yeah, I've been really good. It's been a crazy little time. A lot of YouTube stuff, a lot of drama being covered, a lot of things happening. I mean, I'm sure you know. Like, I want to talk to you about this just right off the rip. Bored Ape Yacht Club 1. What was it like clicking buy on a fucking over 100 ETH purchase? Like, what even was that like?
Okay, Bored Ape Yacht Club. I've owned a mutant for a while, but to be able to get to an ape is, in my eyes, owning a piece of one of the biggest brands in the world, which I think is going to be one of the biggest brands in the world. It's already positioning itself as being one of the biggest brands in the world. For what it did in 9 months to get to today, it's just mind-blowing. Look, I mean, the point of the matter is there's a lot of good catalysts coming up here soon for Bored Ape Yacht Club. You know, not just the celebrities getting on board, but, you know, they've already announced Fenwick Law Firm. They already announced Horizon Labs. They're going to build out the Ape Coin. It's coming. There's big things in work for that, for Yuga Labs, already getting a $4 to $5 billion injection of capital into Yuga. This doesn't happen often in the world, in any industry. And to see what had happened in the recent months, 9 months to today, it's blown me away. It's owning a piece of one of the biggest legacy brands, not just in the NFT world, but soon to be in the luxury brand world. And I want to be positioned in that and to be playing a part with it. Besides, a little bit of alpha here, I guess, is that we're building something really interesting in the next coming months alongside of a individual in a group that is also a part of Bored Ape Yacht Club. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to be part of BAYC now.
Bro, that's crazy. So that's definitely like, I feel like it's got to be everybody's goal to be in the Bored Ape Yacht Club, probably for mainly the connecting and the networking and just to be able to say you're in the club, you know. And I assume that's probably like one of the main reasons you bought in, not just to be like a flex to put on your profile picture on Twitter, but I imagine just having those connections in the Bored Ape. I'm sure there's some people in there that are like 17 that bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club when it minted and had no idea what it was going to turn into. But I was going to ask because, you know, if we go through this NFT crash, I was actually surprised that you bought in at over 100 ETH, because I was like, I wonder if he's like, there must be something he knows that that would get him to be able to fork over 100 ETH when there's a chance that it might drop below 100 ETH at some point. I figured it was one of those like, you know what, fuck it, I might as well just get in now. I don't even care if it goes up or down. I just need to get in now and just secure my spot. Is that kind of what it was?
Yeah, it's also my investment. So investing, in my thesis, is that you're investing into the next Gucci, you're investing into the next Louis Vuitton, you're investing into the next Yeezys. That's what I believe this is. You know, like I said, again, 9 months to get to where they are today is not something that ever happens in the world. And I want to be a part of that. I want to invest long term. This is not a quick flip for me. This is not something that I want to sell. If someone offered me 500 ETH, I'm probably going to take it. 500 ETH. But if it's something I want to be a part of long term, and you're right. What comes along with that investment is network, it's connection, it's being part of that group of individuals, that group that's building out something really astronomical, if you will.
Yeah.
And to be able to be associated with them in any way, shape, or form, and be lucky enough to be somewhat on the sidelines of building something alongside of them is really unique.
Hell yeah. That's crazy, dude. I just couldn't when you posted that, I was like, wow, holy shit, that is so cool. And you've been busy, so I don't know if you're open to talk about like with Bungie and with Jupiter Group, or like I don't know if you like left that all behind, or can you go into detail on like what you've been doing the past few months?
So my job originally was get hired on as CEO of Jupiter Group, not Bungie
Mm,
Project. I was
okay.
CEO of Jupiter Group in order to bring Brendan Murphy's Bungie Project to where it was. So I fulfilled my duties and obligations, and I was able to exit and move on to my next endeavor.
Hell yeah. Well, you fucking killed it, dude, because Bungie is a beast. I still love the Bungie. They're putting in work, and I see you're still following them. I mean, they're putting out content there every day, and that's one of the things that, I mean, honestly, almost no project is doing enough content, because I was on a walk the other day, and I was trying to figure out ways you bring value other than like bringing passive income to your holders, or like, those classic utility buzzwords that people have. And I was like, man, the one big thing that most projects are missing is the content side, because entertainment is also value, and people forget that entertainment and being able to look at a video and feel part of that, feel like part of that brand, like something bigger than themselves. And dude, Bungie's been putting out so much content, so many things, so many sculptures, and just posting that you really did set out the groundwork for them. And you did an incredible job. And I'm still pumped to be. I mean, I know you're not with Bungie anymore, but I'm still stuck with Bungie because I want to be there. And dope project, man. Dope project.
I'll always be a part of Bungie Project because I'm never selling my Bungies. I
Fuck
would
yeah.
never
Oh, yeah.
will. I think it's fantastic. Brendan Murphy's a savage. He's going to continually work that project as hard as he possibly can. There are people behind it, like Jupiter Group right now, that are incredibly dedicated and smart to it. I'm very enthusiastic for them, and I'm very happy for what they're doing with it because they are working their butts off to make it work, and that's what it requires.
Hell yeah. And I wanted to go because I went onto your Twitter. I think I can share my screen here. And I wanted to pull up some of like the links and stuff you had in your Twitter bio. I think it'll pop up here. Yeah. Okay. Can you see what I can see?
Yep, I can see what you see.
Okay. All right. So for people watching, this is Greg's Twitter page. You got the classic, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, super dope. And anyways, you had some of these links in here, so I clicked on a few of them. So we have the links DAO, we have Parallel, we have virtual. This is a virtual sports broadcasting studio. We have Shark.com and Shark Pack. And I was wondering if you could go in depth on if this is like your new endeavor, if this is like what you're putting all into, or kind of like where you're headed, like where your head's at the next few months, I guess.
I'll start with the very beginning. Shark.com. That's our family office. It's my dad, Greg Norman. He was a Hall of Fame golfer, also entrepreneur. He's got a portfolio company you can see there from Shark.com, from Greg Norman golf course design to wine to clothing brand to lifestyle brand to real estate development to fitness and health and lifestyle to, there you go, our partner groups right there. One of the big partnerships we've done recently was with Club Car, Verizon, GPSI to bring telecommunications and entertainment to the golf course, i.e. you can be watching the golf while you're playing golf. You can be jamming out music through streaming music partners that we have. So to bring fun and entertainment to the golf course. So that's where I come from. That's what I've done for 20 years, while also building my investment thesis and then building my opportunity to jump into technology space. So I was really spearheading the technology investment arm of our family office, which led to Spock, which we could get into a little bit. I'll stop for a second though. And then so originally after Shark.com and Greg Norman Golf Course Design, where I was working there, I branched off and did my own thing called Shark Wake Park. And that's
here.
Of the core values and ethics and business statements and models that my dad did with Greg Norman Golf Course Design. So I took my love of sport, which is wakeboarding and kiteboarding. I was able to be a professional athlete in it for 15 years. I was able to travel across the globe and see all the different wake parks around the globe, and knew I wanted to bring that home to do it. Saw what it did for communities, saw what it did for job creation, saw what it did for kids, because I was one of those kids. What it did for me was give me my own identity, give me my own self-worth. Because coming from my dad and what he's done in the real world has been significant.
Yeah.
He's definitely created a name for himself. And I was never that enthusiastic about golf at the younger age. I loved golf, loved to play it, but not to become a professional. So
Mhm.
I found my own right in wakeboarding. And like I said, I got to travel across the world to wakeboard and kite surf professionally. And then I worked for about 7 years to develop the business thesis and then business model and business plan to develop Shark Wake Park. And that was going around to local municipalities, identifying sports complexes that had bodies of water that created no value except for the local fishermen, one or two of them that caught bass out of it. I knocked on the doors of every local leader, mayors, board of directors, the directors of Parks and Recreation, you name it, and pitched them. Say, hey, I want to partner with you all. I want to take a lease from you all, and I'll capitalize the entire endeavor to create a wake park, which is a water skiing, wakeboarding complex to allow people to participate in these sports without the need of a six-figure ski boat,
Yeah.
mastercraft. And you
For
can
sure.
show up and ride all day long and create a season pass for a couple $100 like you would on a ski mountain. So built two of those in South Carolina, and North Myrtle Beach is Park 843. And then 561 is West Palm Beach, South Florida. It's been fantastic, man. It's been operating for about 7 years now. The one in West Palm Beach and the one in South Carolina has spawned insanely good young athletes already.
I bet, yeah.
Colby Zabarth, Austin Rudd, Will, Frankie, Donnie. Two of them, Donnie and Colby, are already junior world champions. They've only started riding 3 years ago.
Wow.
So did that for, still doing that. They're still operating, still having fun there. And then love seeing the growth and development of these kids to become athletes. And then, also working the business side of it as well. It's tough, but it's great because now I get to work alongside of some really young, hardworking, smart, dedicated individuals to be able to grow Shark Wake Park.
Dude, and it's crazy because not only are you built like I feel like I've been in Web3 mode for so long, but this is like real world shit. You're out here like cultivating and creating athletes from that wouldn't have even been able to do it without the opportunity to like have a wake park like that to mess around in and become amazing at it. And that's crazy because that's like the link between the real world and metaverse, whatever we're gonna call this for now. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter that you've been resharing about, especially the golf stuff, but you've been saying a lot of stuff about the connection between NFTs and how we can bridge that with the business world. And I know someone had a question that I think was pretty specific about it. And I'm 99% sure I screenshotted it. Let's see if it's here. Yes, it is. Okay, so this one's said, Mr. Jester, or from at Mr. Jester, I'd be interested to hear his opinions on how NFTs could give certain businesses a competitive advantage, which is more specific than I was going to ask. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
That's a fantastic question. I do think it gives a very significant competitive advantage. On the forefront, the startup capital required in order to start the business. So everyone has a really good idea. Well, a lot of people have very good ideas about a business model, but to execute it from idea to fruition is very, very difficult and very hard. Not just to implement the ideas, but to raise the capital, to find partnerships, to find your investors, to finding your customers, to finding location, to finding product market fit, to finding the right opportunity to market, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I've experienced with Jupiter Group, and then what I'm experiencing right now with Links DAO, and what I'm experiencing with a few other different initiatives I'm involved with, the entire organization and the entire framework to start the organization is flipped on its head with using NFT. So Links DAO, prime example. That went from Mike Dudas and Chris Mattern coming up with the idea of creating a DAO to buy a top 100 golf course. It went from idea to sale of the NFT in 18 days, and they raised $11 million from the NFT sale to capitalize legal framework of the DAO, hiring executives, all the necessary endeavors you need in order to build a business effectively. And the DAO is going to be an effective business. So, and then another case study that I'm not involved with, but this was phenomenal to watch it happen, was what Gary Vee did with Flyfish Club, which was capitalizing an entire restaurant through the sale of an NFT. So to go back to the original question, what is the competitive advantage? Well, now as the business entity or the formation of the founders, you don't have to give up any equity. You don't have to go leverage and raise any debt. So now you have this pool, if you did the NFT sale correctly, of treasury in order to be able to execute on that idea. So that's number one. I mean, executing on the idea is very difficult, but to get the capital in order to raise it, in order to raise the capital, in order to execute on the idea is step number one. And that's very, very difficult. So we're doing an NFT sale, linking it to the in-world business. There's a lot of complications in that because legal complications. Here in the United States, if you try to promise anything like, okay, I'll take a step back. Every NFT artist, collector, founder here in the United States should never promise raising the floor price or promising things that are going to give them excess value. That is a direct violation of the SEC security laws. Do not do that. In fact, I would say even take a step back even further and don't promise anything. Just say you're part of this collection. Now, in the United States, we have to be so careful legally about what we do as a company, as an entity, especially with the NFT sale. For example, the Links DAO. The NFT is not directly associated with the future golf course. The NFT will allow you to one day purchase a membership to that golf course. So we're not promising you right away that if you buy an NFT, you're a member of this golf course. No. The beautiful thing about what this new framework is for a individual that wants to be part of this collection or newfound business is that you are effectively getting to be alongside the creation of this business from day one. So what that means, you actually get to both the founder, the business entity, and the customers get to build the product up together, which is not normal. We get to speak directly with the individuals that will buy the product. We get to iterate on the product or the service with the customers from day one. So back to the original question about the competitive edge. You are literally building the product and service with your customers from day one, which is phenomenal because you're never going to miss a beat. You're never going to miss.
Is it though? Because I would be scared that because you understand stuff about business and things that need to happen as from a different standpoint than a consumer. A consumer that's never operated in a business sense, has never worked on a team before, is going to say, "No, we need to have this," and you're going to be like, "No, that's like not a thing," you know. So, what is your thoughts on that bit? You know, growing together as a community.
Sure. Yeah, like for example, with DAOs. So the question comes up all the time is, isn't it chaotic with everyone voting on absolutely everything? Yes, it would be. You can't allow everybody to vote on every little thing that happens in the business. It certainly doesn't make sense. And the best analogy right here is how we have a representative democracy within the United States. The United States is a democracy, but we do elect people in order to go iterate and operate the country or the business or everything. Same thing needs to be in place here. There needs to be the DAO that allows for individuals to be elected in order to execute on that framework or that business model. So while things could come in, like prime example is Links DAO. We did a vote the other day about should we, yes or no, take 2 days of the royalties that are produced from the trading volume and gift it to Steph Curry's foundation. There was a resounding yes. That was fantastic. Everyone said yes on that. So those are little things we could do along the way. And just speculative in nature, what can come to mind when the golf course is operating. Hey, we have a budget of this is actually in the real world how it works with golf courses. We have a budget of say $2 million. We need to renovate the greens, the bunkers, because it's just normal upkeep of a golf course. How do you all want to do that? Do you want to allocate that budget to doing the bunker work, or do you want to allocate that budget to doing the greens, or do you want to do new turf, that kind of major high level stuff? But individual operations of the business, like at what price we should do the greens fees, because there's so much nuance that goes into that, how the business should operate, should be allocated and accountable for the responsibility of that executive that's hired by the DAO to be in place.
Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense. Because I remember I saw a tweet and they were like, it had something to do when Coinbase partnered with MasterCard. I don't know if you heard about that, Coinbase marketplace. And a lot of people were like, hell yeah, like mass adoption. And I was like, wait, that's like backwards. I thought we were trying to not do that. That was like the whole point of crypto. But I think we're realizing that pure decentralization, anonymous organizations, anonymous founders isn't really where we're headed. I mean, we just saw the Board Ape Yacht Club get doxxed. So I don't even know how that happened. I guess BuzzFeed just, I don't even know. But basically, yeah, Board Ape Yacht Club got doxxed. Everyone's trying to push a dox. I'm actually a big fan of that. I don't know why it would make sense. Like I made an analogy, and I'd actually love to hear what you think of this. And maybe I'm totally wrong here, but I put an analogy. It was like, would you ever fly with an airline with an anonymous team, anonymous pilot, and a promise that they're going to make you, like, they're going to make it all the way to the next destination? I kind of linked it to that because I was like, why would you give, like, Hype Bears, for example, a project that had a zero point 0.4 ETH mint, 10,000, they made $12 million straight off the mint. And I was just like, this guy's literally anonymous. He could disappear. And I just didn't understand. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, another prime example is Pixelmon, right? They
Yeah.
did
Oh, yeah.
$71 million in sales. The team is completely anonymous. They have no idea if they already built a game in the past. No idea if they have any. They could have just been a flashy website, and they're very good at raising up the community and hype around it. We don't know. You have no clue. But they raised $71 million from it, which is insane. It's a lot of liquidity sucked out from the total market here. So it's probably going to be a little doldrum happening here because of how much money was just put into that project. Yeah. So no, but also a big thing to note, again, back to we're here speaking in the United States, we have a lot of legal framework and structure that we have to be very aware of. Now, if you are making sales in the United States and you are promising X, Y, and Z to an NFT collection, you're going to have to be very careful with the SEC. You're going to have to be very careful with anyone coming after you because you have to be so careful. I'm saying it over and over again. You have to be so careful. So investing or at least buying an NFT for one of these products or collections, I mean, you are accountable for everything you do with your finances in this space, just like you're accountable for clicking on the wrong link and linking your wallet to some scam website and training your wallet. You're accountable for clicking the link to the right website and purchasing that product. So it's not on the collection. It's not on the founders, it's not on the owners, because pretty much everybody out there before they hit buy has all the information they need to say yes or no to buy in. And so if you do your due diligence correctly and you realize, oh, wow, red flag, anonymous founders, they have no proof that they can pull this off, maybe you shouldn't mint. Maybe you should wait until the secondary market to see how it plays out.
Well, the problem is people want money out of it. I looked at Hype Bears and I said 100% every single person in this project is only minting so that they can flip it. There's no chance people are staying in this because they believe in the project. There's nothing to believe in. And I was like, the problem with that is everyone knows they can make money, but the only way to make money is to give them $12 million for the mint because then you can flip it. And I'm just like, it's almost like we've just accepted that people are just gonna, you can make a project, you can make a dope website, dope product, you can spend $10,000 and make a dope everything and then disappear. Like, it's so possible. And I don't think people understand. Like, Hype Bears was cool. There's a lot of cool art out there. You can make a cool website, but I'm like, realistically, that's the problem, is that people want the money. And that's what this NFT space has turned into. Every bull market turns into moon boy action and degen bullshit, and people just buy everything and everyone gets money. And it's just like, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos.
It's what happened in 2017, the ICO craze.
Yeah.
Exact same thing. It's pure one-on-one analogy was happening right here. Everyone hyped in the projects because they thought they were going to get in early. It was going to moon. They could get out. But anonymous founders, anonymous developers, same damn thing happened again. This is just a new, easier way of doing it because it's art, right? Everyone could jump in and create a PFP avatar project very simply right now because there's the speculative nature of it. People can see that, hey, maybe we can make a quick buck out of this really quickly. It's kind of the state where the market we're in. It is a free market. So as we get older and more mature, hopefully that will get flushed out, hopefully. But, it's still going to happen because people are going to take advantage of that. People are going to take advantage of people willing to throw 3 ETH at an anonymous founding group. I mean, it's kind of ludicrous, but that's where we're at. That's why, we brought him up last time, bring him up again. Gary Vee is very, very good at saying over and over again, 99% of these projects will go to zero. So just be hyper careful and only invest the money you're willing to lose. And that's really the game with all investing. Not for, you can make a lot of money in this space. You can lose all your money in this space.
Oh, most people do lose all their money. And for people watching, I've reviewed almost every project worth a damn in the NFT space, literally every single one. I've reviewed so many projects. And out of all the projects I've reviewed, I can count on one hand, I think, which projects will make it as far as the promises they're making to be a big brand. There's literally a handful. And it's sad because literally everyone thinks they have it. And I'm just like, damn. But anyways, what's going to happen? Because you just said the SEC is going to come after you. You can't say these things. Everybody's saying these things though. So like, is everyone going to go to prison? Like, how are they going to track? Like, how does all that work? How do they find these people? What's going to be the consequence, I guess?
Honestly, don't know, Cade, but I don't even want to go there. I don't think anyone really knows right now except for the SEC. And I'm not saying run the FUD bells right now at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying just be careful. Like,
Yeah.
don't go across the line. Understand where we're at in this industry right now. It's art collectibles. This is not an investment. This is not some new thing that's going to guarantee you profits. It's not. This is art collectibles, just like buying a piece of art down the street would be. Mm-hmm. You're buying it because you like it. Don't buy it because you think you're going to get rich off of it, or especially if the founding team is telling you you're going to get rich off of it. Run away. Run away.
Oh yeah. Well, because they're focusing on making money. I'm like, any project that focuses on bringing you back money as soon as possible, I'm like, that's a short-term mindset, and that just kind of shows like the quality of the founder. I'm like, if that's what they're focusing on, that's not a good thing, you know. And so with my NFTs, I have like art pieces. They're just photography. And the way I just said them, I was like, look, these are like my access keys, my brand. If you believe in me and you want to see me win and you think I'll win later in life, then this is like a way you can kind of invest yourself in me. Like, I have no promises for the future. I'm like, here's the things I want to do. I want to be the biggest entertainer. I want to do these crazy big things. I was like, but all these little NFTs I have are just like you supporting me. And so I think, and honestly, like that worked. Like my floor price for those is like 1 or 2 ETH for both projects right now. It's hard to get in. And it's like, I think that's how you do it. And all projects that are doing that, kind of promising that way of doing it, they're working. You know, they're like, that's why I liked Bungie and I liked the way you guys did it, because you were like, look, this is just a really awesome art piece, like a 10,000 collection of art pieces from this artist who's been doing this his whole life. This is his passion. He wants to do these crazy things. If you want to be part of it, that's really it, you know?
Yeah, that's it, man. So in a typical investment strategy, like I've done it quite a few times in the real world, you invest and you expect to not see anything in return for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you're lucky, 5 years. If you're lucky, if it's really good, 10 years. You don't like constantly cramming down the throat of the founders or the CEO or the executive team about why am I not getting my investment back? Because you shouldn't do that way. And so in a way, and I do not agree with the creditor investor laws here in the United States. I think it should be opened up to a broader audience than just people that can afford to be an investor. There are way too many smart people out there that should be able to allocate their capital in the right way. But in some degree, that does prove some protection, because then, like, I don't know. Let me think about this for a second. So the creditor investor laws are there in order to protect investors. I don't fully agree with it for X, Y, and Z reasons. But there is maybe some maturity that needs to take place in this market, in the NFT market.
God, yeah. Yes.
Because it's so new. I mean, like, people who are back in the 2017 days most likely got burned on shit coins. That's why they're called shit coins. Mm-hmm. And it's, again, the same thing happening here. It just takes maturity. It takes knowing for the fact that you can't expect a significant life-changing event to happen when you buy an NFT collection happen overnight. I mean, it takes sometimes years for it to happen in the real world. And that's happening at an exponential rate here in the NFT world because of how new we are and how exciting it is. People come piling in. But just know you can lose your ass here. You can absolutely lose every bit of money you invest in the space because you're just FOMOing in. Just take your time and do your own research. Understand that there's 1 ETH is still thousands of dollars. Okay. I mean, 1 ETH is 1 ETH, but it's thousands of United States dollars. Just be careful what you get into.
Yeah, you hit it. You literally hit the nail on the head there with the maturity side. I think I've been making all this content trying to get my subscribers to be more smart, because that's the people I watched in the beginning when I was getting into investing and money were people that constantly kept saying that. They were like, look, you just can't, like, they're just very conservative, basically. Just like buy it in and just forget about it. Just keep dollar cost your way in, dollar cost your way out as it goes up, or just hold whatever you want to do. And as I've grown in investing in crypto, especially in NFTs, and I've gone through each degen wave as a degen and then maturing and then doing all that, I've realized that literally the only way to not lose your head and lose everything as far as like keeping your head together is buying a project and truly, yeah, just how you're saying, buy in and say, I'm good. I'm done. That's my bit. I'm just gonna hold it. Hopefully that's dope. I want to be part of that later, especially for NFTs. And that's the way to do it. Like every time I've made an incredible flip or I've made an investment that did a 12x in a couple of weeks kind of thing is because I bought in without the intent to flip it. Every time I had the intent to flip, I got burned every single time. So I was like, okay, fuck that. I'm done. And I was going to say is the projects right now that are pumping out stuff, they're saying, we got a game in 6 weeks. We got this in 6 weeks. And I'm like, bro, that's going to be shit. Like it is, no one's going to play your fucking game. No one wants to watch your TV show that you threw together because you paid some 6 people on Fiverr $75 to do it. Like that is not what we want. But the problem is if the projects don't do that, then people go, oh, the project's dead. And so like, is the answer just we need more time? NFT people need to be in the market longer. Is that what it is? We just need to mature as a market. Is that how we fix this problem?
Maturing in the market for sure, and understanding the fact that, okay, an NFT collection just made $11 million. Fantastic. Yeah. That's great. Made a ton of money. Now the collection and the treasury has a ton of money to go build what they can. To go build anything in the real world versus digitally as an NFT collection, as we're talking about here, takes a significant amount of time. And not just time, but also the fact that you got to form relationships and deal with third-party organizations that are not going to be working as fast and diligently as that one collection you're a part of. So be aware of that. For any type of like major endeavor, like building a game, for Christ's sakes, building a proper game takes years and hundreds of millions of dollars. That's why
and people who want to play.
Yeah, they want to play.
People who want to play.
Yeah, it takes 40 plus people team. It takes hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions of dollars. It takes a long time. So anything that comes up with a metaverse game scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
Which one I will try to just talk about for a second. I'm a big believer in Bulliverse and Citizens of Believer Island because they did their mint, quietly worked along the way, building out, and all of a sudden they're about to be the first game on Unreal Engine as an NFT game, which is quietly done. They just went about their business, executing capital partners like Six Man Ventures, executing on their Seedify is about to launch their coin, which is the Bull coin. That's a ton of work. And like we talked about in the past, under promise, over deliver is key in this space, right?
You have to.
So if you just quietly work along, you have this big treasury, you don't promise people everything, but then you just start executing on what you need to do in order to make sure that that collection, that company, that business is going to be surviving long term. People are going to take notice. But don't think that's going to happen overnight because nothing ever happens overnight. There is no getting rich overnight in any industry.
Yeah, 100%. All my best calls have been like for the gaming projects. Like I called out Evoverse and Calling Online back in August. Called BioPills around August or September. I forget when they launched. And I've been sitting on it, and people were like, "Well, they're not doing anything." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but that's because they're building." I was like, "What do you mean? Like that's what they're doing?" And then recently they're like, "Boom, Doge Pound partners up with Evoverse." I'm like, that was the partnership that's going to get the attention. And what do you see? A 5x overnight, basically. Calling Online had the same thing, and BioPills like it all just happened. And they're like, "Wait, what was the catalyst?" I'm like, the catalyst was fucking quality and time, and they built. I was like, that's the catalyst.
Another big thing to point out with what you just said is the fact that this is such an ADD type market, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, new project over here. Oh, new project over here.
God, yeah.
If you're too scattered and not hyper focused, you're going to miss the juice of what real good companies and collections are doing. That means getting hyper focused and getting solely invested in a way on 1, 2, or maybe 3, so you know exactly what's going on, so you know exactly what their plan is, know exactly who's behind it, rather than being chasing opportunities all over the place. You're gonna lose your ass.
You're gonna lose everything. I mean, Alex Becker, I don't know if you know him. He's a YouTuber. He's also big on the e-commerce. He's got a company called, what's it called? I don't remember. It's some kind of e-commerce, e-marketing or whatever. He's super, super rich, successful entrepreneur. And he was talking about that. He was like, why is it that I'm able to fucking make $1 million NFTs and you're not? He said, basically it's because I figured out one sector of NFTs that I liked. He goes, and then I only focus on that. He goes, I literally put blinders on. I don't even know about the other projects. I just focus on gaming. He goes, then I picked 5 projects that I thought were dope and I dove all the way into those. He goes, that's pretty much it. And like when I look back, and I remember he said that a long time ago, I look at my portfolio and like my crypto stuff, and I'm like, there's like 9 coins here. And I look at like my friends, and there's like 75 coins that they've invested like $30 each into, and I'm like, that's not how you do it. Like I can't keep track of all these coins. Like I only know, I barely know, and like there's 8 on this list. You know what I'm saying? And I think that coming from a more conservative and maybe even like a stock market mentality, where it's like you're happy if you get a 1% raise one day, like a 1% up, and you're like, hell yeah. In crypto, people are spoiled. They think Bored Ape Yacht Club is like the bare minimum or something. They're like, oh yeah, buy ape, sell ape, $1 million. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I don't know what like, is the maturity in the market going to come from the founders and projects first, or like what is going to be the catalyst other than just time in the market? Because something's going to have to push that, because it's always going to be a new wave of people coming in, and they're always going to have that mentality of the NFT degen. And there's so many people coming. We're about to have Coinbase coming. We're going to have like X millions of people onboarded, and we're going to have to start. What are we going to start over? Or like, are we going to have another NFT bull run where more projects come in? I'm like, we've already seen everything. What's next?
I don't know, man. I think it's a great question. Right? I do think there's going to be an exceptional amount of people entering this Web3 space really soon, and there's going to be people that are going to try to take advantage of that new fresh blood that comes into it. And so again, just you saying it, you got a platform, other collectors, other founders, other YouTubers, other influencers. You're going to have to decipher through the bullshit and find people like you that are saying the right things correctly. That's saying, hey, look, be careful out there. Like, guy's been saying it from day one. It's Gary. Gary's been saying it from day one. He's got one of the biggest collections on the planet. He's got one of the biggest influences on the planet, biggest voices on the planet for X, Y, and Z different industries. And he's been telling people from day one, be careful. There's a lot of shit out there. Don't lose your ass. Like, be aware of what's going on. Okay, so, and then what you said about your friends that got like 90 coins, right? How the hell are they going to ever pay attention to 90 different coins and try to sell the top? Because these shit coins, you all know, they go like this and they fall down. And they'll have a 95% drawdown. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to lose.
100%, dude. 100%. Well, I had a couple questions here. One of them was actually, since you brought up Gary Vee, if Gary Vee didn't exist or he disappeared even today, would NFTs be the future, do you think? If there was someone like him not pushing it every day and putting all that content out, do you think it would still happen?
Yeah, he's definitely been a catalyst for how the speed has happened here for sure. But it was already happening. Yeah. Gary jumped in this time last year. Mm-hmm. That's it. And it was already
crazy too.
It was already it really is crazy. But it's already in place. I mean, guys like him see opportunities across the board because they're constantly asking questions and trying to take in as much data. And when he saw this opportunity, and this is not me trying to speculate on what he said because he's very public about how he said it, he just saw it, the opportunity, and dove in and put hours of work in understanding the space. And that's when he launched VeeFriends. And it's gigantic now, absolutely gigantic. And so not just him, but maybe he had a catalyst for Nike, Adidas. I'm not sure, but NBA was already there.
Yeah, that's true.
I know other big organizations were already looking at the space, looking at the opportunities. He definitely lit a fire under it for sure. But NFTs were, I think, inevitable from day one.
Yeah. I have a question for, since you have such a specific, unique perspective because of what you've done with the work on Bougie and Jupiter, and how you dove fully, basically with Gary Vee, just dove in to Web3, coming from a traditional business background. What advice do you have for people who are starting what's the first thing you would do if you had a project that accidentally got too much hype and you just got dropped $15 million to your treasury? What's your even next move? Say you've got a team of six friends in a basement, and you're like, oh fuck, we accidentally sold $15 million. Now what do we do? Like, what's your first step?
That's when the hard work really begins. That's when you got to actually build something out of that $15 million, or you're going to be labeled as a fraud. So you better be very vocal. You better get ready to get your ass grinding on the road, because it is going to be very difficult, because now you have the expectations behind you that you have $15 million in the treasury. You better go use that correctly. You're going to have a bunch of people yelling at you every day. So learn as fast as you damn well can, pour 20 hours a day into it, and try to do everything very systematically with A/B tests. Okay, we have idea A, idea B, idea C. Make a pie chart. Try to do the pros and cons list of each and every one of them. talk it out with your group, talk it out if needed with your community. Make sure you're lockstep with each other. Make sure you're not promising things that you can't deliver on at all, and just figure it out. Yeah. Honestly, it's not the best advice I could possibly give, but it really is just figure it out. There's a world of information out there on the internet. There's a world of easy connections you can develop within this space. Ask the questions, reach out to people, reach out to founders, reach out to other individuals from not just the NFT space, but also from the in real life space. Gain as much information as you possibly can, and be ready for very few really restful nights and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, dude, it's a crazy world just because so many people are launching projects. I think there's definitely projects I've seen where they did not think that was going to happen, and they're like, oh crap, what do we do now? And so it sucks to see that, because I think there's a lot of people who come in with good intent, and they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. Like, what about projects that don't have $15 million? What if they did their launch and they didn't even sell out, maybe, or they only got 40K in the treasury? Like, what's the next move? Is the next move just branding and just taking your time and making content, or is it like, what would be your first step there?
Again, grow your network. That's number one. It's going to be the most valuable thing in the world for you. You never know what's going to lead. It could lead you to the conversation with a VC or some investment fund or some individual that believes in you, and then it's going to want to put more money into you to help back your vision, your growth. So again, network and connections. A CEO and founder's number one job is to be a voice for the company, to find capital in order to be able to hire the right people in order to do their job, to be able to execute on your vision, and then of course continually growing your network, because you never know where it's going to lead. So again, hit the road and grind. It's going to be tough, very tough, but like 95% of it will be excruciatingly painful, and you'll have 5% of the really fun times. And those really fun times are not just when the money starts rolling in. It's the ideas and the connections of your employees and your partners linking synergistically, like, oh shit, this is a great idea. Let's run down this path and go after it. Most likely you're going to fail, but get together with a group of really good people. You're going to be able to figure it out. And that definitely brings me back to the next point. If you're going to do a business, if you're going to lock into anything, you're basically getting married to those people. Mm-hmm. Make sure the right people get invested into it and partner with, because you're going to be with them for a long time.
Yeah, that's incredible advice. This is my last question. This is a little bit selfish, I guess. So for me, what was that question? Okay, well, I'll come back to that question. Well, the next question I was going to ask is, fast forward 1 year with your projects, with the golf course and what you're working on now. Where are you in 1 year, do you think? Is it just continuing to grind, or do you have like milestones that you're like, no, in 1 year we'll have this?
No, I definitely set milestones for myself. So I obviously came from a very licensing, marketing, branding, soft goods, hard goods space back in shark.com. I learned a lot through Jupiter Group and building it in 2021. In 2022, I'm going to take those learnings and apply it to real life. I'm going to apply it to our core businesses, our partners, and apply it to everything I can possibly get my hands on, because now I have the proof to show everybody out there that the major brands of the world, which I believe a lot of them already know, and I'm not going to try to say I'm the catalyst for this, they should have an NFT strategy. They should have a Web3 strategy. Whether they go all in or just like tiptoe in, there's a lot of benefit that could take place from using what this technology and this community development method could do for a brand, for an institution, for a nonprofit. It's mind-boggling to me how early we are, but to see how the wave is coming. And the wave is pretty much already here. And I guess I could say is, you're not going to be able to stop the waves. Just learn how to surf them. And if you're in this space, if you are here right now, learn as much as you can, because you have an amazing opportunity right here with the amount of capital flooding into the space, with the amount of attention here. If you do it smartly, do it correctly, you can be a participant in this right now, whether it just be learning, growing your own individual self, buying a collection, learning how to do it correctly, or wanting to build in a space. It's limitless. It's hard, very, very difficult, but it's the best opportunity I've seen right now.
Fucking mic drop, dude. That's exactly the mindset I had after like 3 or 4 months in the NFT space, trying to flip projects and buy in. And I was like, wait, what am I doing? I was like, what am I doing? This is so stupid. There's so much more here. And that's when I started making videos. I was like, wait, this is an opportunity. How you just said, you're like, this is a chance for me to actually be early on something. I remember when I first got into crypto, I was a few years late, and I was like, damn it. If I just been a couple years earlier, if I had just one thing to be early on, I would take my chance. And I remember saying that, like, in my head, I remember that. And so when NFTs came, and I was sitting in my car, I was living in my car at the time in a parking lot in some random city and fucking, I don't even know where it was, like Oregon maybe. And I was like, sitting in my car, I just made a rap. I made some stupid video, and I was like, why don't I just make a video about NFTs? And I just made a video in my car about NFTs. And as soon as I finished and I clicked stop record, I was like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to do something and maybe contribute to a space that is going to be huge. And that was crazy. And so that leads me into my, like, I think my final question here, because I've dealt with this so much. And I know that you've built businesses and you've been in the industry for so long. How do you deal with the horrible anxiety of never quite finishing anything ever? You know, you make a list, and as soon as you check it off, another one fills it in. And it's just like, I'm never going to be able to catch up, because there's never like a real end goal other than to continue building. And I know Gary Vee is like, well, just enjoy the journey and stuff. I'm like, I do, but I still have this horrible nagging thing of like, oh, I got to finish that thing. I can't relax because there's always something I could be doing.
Yeah, that's the catch-22, kid. You got to be very curious. You have to be very open and honest with yourself, but you also have to have a really good imagination in order to build anything. But then when you come to executing on those ideas, you have to put blinders on and just say, this is what we're doing. So many startups have failed because they got feature creep, it's called, in building out tech. You have this one idea and one idea and one idea and one idea, and they all are great ideas, and they're all probably going to make the product better. But in order to get from idea A to idea B, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to develop that tech. Well, then to get to C, you have to then branch off from B and get to C. But if you do that, you're diverting so many resources, not just capital, but human resources, attention, be able to have so many time in the day to build out A. And if you don't get to A and get that done effectively, you're not going to get to B. But if you race through A, you're probably going to come up through bugs and not being aware of that's going to affect B. And then you have to go back to A again. So you just got to put the blinders on and just say, this is what we're doing. All these other opportunities could generate X amount of money, and that's fantastic, or all these other opportunities, and that's great. But again, you're not going to get anywhere unless you just start building and focusing on that core thing that you got, which means blocking out distraction. And that's very difficult to do in this space, but in this world, actually, not just NFT space, in this world. And it's just requiring focus. Just deep focus.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you, just because you're so decorated in that space, you've been doing it for so long, because there was a point a few weeks ago where I was doing my YouTube, and I'm like going, and I'm like, man, I'm going like 17, 18 hours. I'm like, I'm averaging 5 hours a night of sleep. And I'm like, I feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And then I had a realization. I was like, wait, no, this is actually what I'm trying to do is one of the hardest things you could ever do, which is to grow online basically, and like to do this thing and be an entrepreneur and all those things. I'm like, it is supposed to literally be like the Marines or like the Navy SEALs, where they try and break you down. And I was like, that must be what this is, because this is the hardest fucking thing of all time. And like, I thought it wasn't supposed to be, or something like that.
No, it is the hardest fucking thing of all time. Yeah. Building anything unique and different for yourself is the hardest fucking thing you will do. And you have to get 8 hours of sleep, but you will not be able to, regardless of how tired you are, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, your brain's going to fire and go, oh shit, we got to do this. We got to do that. No, go to sleep. You just got to go to sleep. So yes, dude, there is no other way of playing it down. It's fucking difficult, and you're going to eat a lot of shit, and your relationships might suffer. So you got to be very open and honest. Like, I'm very lucky to just get married to a woman that completely understands the amount of work I had to put into it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Very awesome. I'm very happy.
Dude. So cool.
But she's been my biggest supporter. She's been my biggest fan. She's been my best friend through this ordeal, because she's seen how hard I have to work in order to build things for not just myself now, but our future, my family's future. It's hard. Just like no one would ever think that what Tom Brady did was easy, right? Or Tim
Yeah.
Belichick, what they had to do or how they get there in positions was easy. No, they had mentally and physically beat the shit out of themselves. That's what this is. That's what building anything as an entrepreneur is, building any business. It's the same damn thing. No, and also being aware that no matter how good things are going, probably something's going to fuck up.
Yeah.
Just be aware of it. And
Yeah.
again, the calluses do grow over time. You get used to it for sure, but it's never easy.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say something like that because I feel like I've seen a lot of business videos. I just don't think they highlight enough. Because what you just said about Tom Brady, like people see Tom Brady and they go, "Oh, that's that dude who throws footballs," and now he just wins Super Bowls. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like we're not talking about like how much actual work that goes into that and how many days you're sitting there completely alone in your room, like crying maybe, or you're like, God, this is the hardest thing ever. Like people just they don't see that, and I think that's why people like the transparency of like sharing those things of how it's hard. But as far as how you've kind of progressed as an entrepreneur from like your teens to your 20s, 30s, how has anything changed really from your mentality as a young man, like a young teenager or something, looking up to your dad as a businessman and then growing and kind of becoming that?
Yeah, I was pretty naive as a young guy. I wanted things to happen really quickly, especially with dealing with my business with Shark Wake Park, where I was dealing with government. Not to bash on government in this stake at all, but anything in that realm takes forever to get across the table. Not just permitting, but also just the ability for them to say yes. And I was sitting there back going, well, look, I mean, what do you guys have to lose? Let's move. Let's do this now. I'm willing to invest. We're ready to build. We're ready to hire all these jobs. And then look, here's the spreadsheet. Here's the proof. How much money you are going to put back in your system if you allow us to do this. But it just takes time. It takes a shitload of time. It takes a shitload of effort, a shitload of work and resiliency. So in my, I still like to think I'm pretty young.
Yeah, you are. I just meant like teenagers.
Yeah. But teenagers, man, like if you're a teenager now thinking about how to build a business, you're light years ahead. And maybe that's like the best thing to say about that is because not many other teenagers or even in the young 20s or mid 20s or even young 30s are thinking about how to build a business. Mm-hmm. It's difficult, but the fact that you can build a business that throws you off recurring cash flow is fantastic. And that's something it's worth putting all the effort into. But if you start young, you're going to make a shitload of mistakes, which don't really matter because you're young. You can brush it off and go. You don't have much responsibility and accountability, even though when you're in your 18s and you're 22, 25, you think that the problems that you have are really, really significant. It's just preparing you for even worse problems later on. and that's not to be like, oh shit, life's going to suck. No, life can be great if you, even with the problems, it's just being aware that problems and heartache and the bad times are part of the journey. And you better damn well embrace it because the good side is not worth going through. It's not worth going through if you think it's going to be like the end of your days if something doesn't happen exactly how you want it to happen.
Great. That's so true. That's so true. About taking your time and just take care of this stuff and be more patient. Oh, this actually just passed my head. If I'm so the Joyage Kingdom is my brand now. That's kind of what I've gone with. I wanted to make something that wasn't just my name. I don't want to put Cade and sell Cade merch. That was never the plan. So I came with the Joyage Kingdom, and so I already secured the domain, the website. How important is it that I get trademarked or LLC like that? Does that need to happen soon, or is that something I should wait and push on for later down the line?
I don't know about your state you're in, but I'll just use my state, Florida, very easy. I just go on sunbiz.org. I register a limited liability company for a few bucks. I'm registered. I'm in business. Now I own that entity. Trademarking, a little bit more difficult to go through because you should have a law firm be able to go through that detail for you. Mm-hmm. But putting an LLC there's way too many positives to do that. For me to list right now, but do it for protection legally, but also structure about how to, building your company right from day one.
Right.
It's so easy to form an LLC and it's there for protection for you and for the people around you. Easy to do. Do it.
Right on. Okay. That was just my question. I just didn't know what the order was with that stuff. This is my final question. I really appreciate your time. We've gone 54 minutes. What is because Gary Vee talks about this all the time with being grateful and why he's able to run a 1,000-person organization while doing 99 other things. And he talks about it's because he's grateful and it's because he appreciates his family and love. Is that something that is necessary? Is that something you practice too, is being grateful, waking up and remembering, if, my business dies, whatever, but here's what like is really, really, really important,
100%. The best thing I can think about right there is that business ethics, but also life morality is gigantic for me. There are a lot of people out there that have been trying to take advantage of my dad and me because of my name. And I had to learn from a very young age that not everybody is there for the good intentions.
Yeah.
But the people that are there for the good intentions are worth holding on to and worth being part of and worth building a significant future together, because it's unfortunately rare. And the more people that talk about it, like Gary Vee does, like you're doing here, it's gigantic, man. Like we are a species on this planet that's fighting together, fighting to make it a future for ourselves. And we're fighting over some really dumb shit right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't want to go into what that dumb shit is. And we all have our opinions about X, Y, and Z in politics. At the end of the day, we all have to be good to each other. It doesn't matter who you are, who you come from, because what the hell's the point? I don't see the point in it. I've been lucky enough to be around the world a couple times, meet some very influential people. And the majority of those influential people I met do have a good heart and do have a good head on their shoulders and just want to see the world actually become better because of what they're doing, not because of any selfish capitalistic reasons or anything like that. It's because they do think, if I do this, well then, yeah, it could make me a lot of money, but I'm also building an organization that's going to hire 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people that is going to change their lives. And then you've got to start worrying about your number one job being, how do you support them? How do you make the business more successful?
That terrifies me, by the way. Having employees and them depending on the paychecks coming from me, basically, that is terrifying.
It is, but it's your responsibility.
Yep.
And which is great, because then, everyone's working towards a similar goal. Mm-hmm. And it's not just working towards selfish reasons, it's collective reasons. Because if we're all working together as a collective goal, then the collective entity or the group, people behind it, are going to prosper from it. If we're lucky, if everyone works hard.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude, that was awesome. I really appreciate your time. Guys, if you haven't already followed Greg Norman, or Greg, I guess it's Greg Jr. Norman for his Twitter handle. It's right there on the screen. Dude, I really appreciate all the insight, all the advice, all the things you said today. It was awesome.
Okay, I'm going to throw it back on you a little bit, Kate, before we sign off.
Okay, yeah.
I got to meet you, a couple months ago?
3 months ago, probably, yeah.
3 months ago. In that short amount of time, you're doing great work, Cade. You're grinding, you're building, you're doing things right, you're asking the right questions. It's awesome to see what you're doing here, man, and keep it up.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you, Matt. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, well, guys, that's going to pretty much conclude this. I thank you all for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, code word is going to be fucking Links DAO. Should we make it Links DAO for the code word?
Make it Links DAO.
Links DAO for the code word, guys. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow both of us on Twitter, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, continue on your Joyage. Continue to learn and be grateful you're alive watching this video. Peace. All right, and then I think I can just click end.